Hey, it's Dr. J, and today's Tuesday, and it's always one of my favorite days of the week. Monday's always good to get started with training, but then we have our inner circle, and we've had a very special place in the Sales Authority Club with our inner circle. And Jamie, for the last 19 weeks, goodness gracious, doesn't time fly? We've been sharing some health tips, but also how to actually do things better for your wellness as well. It's not just about losing weight, putting on size or whatever. And I've actually been using these for myself and my family. And it's made a significant difference. It's a front of mind activity. And every second Tuesday now, I get reminded by, I believe, the guru of this wellness and also nutrition. So today on Nutrition Tips Tuesday, we have the great man, Jamie. So thanks for joining us, mate. Appreciate it.
Hey, Steve. And g'day to all your watchers and your followers and things like that. And particularly when, here we are talking on Zoom. And today I'm going to share some health tips regarding Zoom, particularly regarding eye health. And then we're going to jump into the supermarket.
Oh, terrific. Well, everybody has gone on to Zoom or Skype these days, and I must say there's going to be something that comes from it that's going to be something that's detrimental. And I must say I went shopping at the supermarket just the other day, and I had Jamie in my ear saying, hey, no labels, make sure you eat it with your knife and fork, and make sure that you can cook more and put it away for later. So all these things are resonating with me on a regular basis. So it's been absolutely wonderful. So thanks for all of your tips. And I know I'd like to share it with our guys in the Sales Authority Club, but I'm sharing it with all my friends too. So it's been outstanding. Thanks, mate.
Well, we're going to start with Zoom, Steve. And I think when it comes to Zoom training, you really are the guru, because increasingly people are selling or coaching via Zoom or even just communicating with their family. As a matter of fact, our oldest son is about to get married, and a lot of his friends and family can't be there, but so it'll be a Zoom wedding. So anyway, but do you mind if I share my screen?
I love it. I love your PowerPoints, and it's always, the visual aids always go a long way. Go for it, mate.
Cool. Okay, so let's go here. So before we get to the supermarket, I want to look at, excuse my messy sort of spare bedroom, which I'm talking from right now, by the way. But there's one thing I want to point out. I don't wear glasses for driving, luckily. I pretty well got 20/20 vision, but I do need reading glasses. Now, when you go to the optometrist to get reading glasses, they typically ask you to hold a book like I'm holding there, and they to monitor the distance between your eyes and the book. And with me, it's about 30 centimeters. But and I'm sure when you're coaching with Zoom, you see people talking down to their computer because they've got their computer on their desk. They don't have their webcam or the webcam within their computer at eye level. And it's just not a good look. They're looking down on people, and it just doesn't work. And so I found it way better to lift my computer up, put it further away from me, and to get a remote, like a Bluetooth keyboard and Bluetooth mouse that you can see there. But this created some problems because now, if I sort of move to the next slide, you can see, firstly, my neck is a much more comfortable position. I'm sitting up straight, but now this is 70 centimeters away. So what I've simply done, and luckily my prescription for reading is pretty simple. So I go to a company called Dresden, Dresden. So for 50 or 60 bucks, I can get these glasses here, and they're pretty well bulletproof unless you drive over them in the car, which I did. So basically today I'm picking up a different pair of these glasses that where the prescription is designed for this distance of 70 centimeters. So I won't be sort of coming forward and straining like that, and I'll be able to sit there. And of course, I have, anybody in the screen, I've got very close to the top of the screen so that there isn't much difference between me looking at them and looking directly into the camera. So right now I'm looking into the camera, but if I was looking at a laptop, I'd be looking down like that, which is not a good look. So, and as far as my eye health, now it goes one step further. So I've got a different lens, and now they can do these lenses with blue blocker filters, because I definitely have a tear duct problem, and being in front of a computer screen all day long, absolutely, what it does, I think it is that it inhibits blinking, or the other way around, and you run into sort of dry eyes and things like that, and sore eyes. And so I'm hoping that having a blue blocker filter may help. As a matter of fact, what I also learned from my optometrist is many people sleep with their eyes slightly open, and they dry out overnight. And now you can get these, they're sort of like swimming goggles, but they're super sort of supple goggles from optometrists, and you can actually get blackout versions of them, which I've ordered. So, to prevent your eyes from, drying out. So there's just some tips. I'll just go back one screen again. So typically we get our, the optometrist said, what are you reading and things like that, and that's how they set up your prescription. Of course, you can have dual prescription lens so that you've got one set of glasses that does that distance and another set of glasses that does that distance. So for guys that are zoomers, that maybe is a good tip.
Yeah, look, I think the Zoom component is something that's quite new, especially in the last 12 months. Everyone started to do the Zooms, and your advice here is absolutely perfectly timed, because when it comes down to the eye looking at the camera, sometimes even if you have a separate camera and then you're having to look up and down, it's really difficult. So what you've got is your computer up, and you can actually just shift the eyes up and down if you want to look at the person. And I think it's really important that people will need to have this as part of their repertoire, especially as we get older, with the good old glasses. I mean, I'll take my glasses off and everything is relatively blurry. I put them on there, I'm only around about that 30 meters away. But I've just recently, I had one of my TV in my place went on the blink. Anyway, the guy came in and said, "Oh, it's done and dusted." It was only a year and a half old. So I went, "Oh dear, that's a bit of a shame." So I put it to one side. But then I had the guy come and install the new telly. He said, "Oh, that can be fixed for a few $100." So what I'm going to have is reconfigure my studio. So what I'll then do is have this great big TV on the wall. So I can have the camera in front of it really close to me. So I'll be able to see the two screens, and they can be on the wall. And it's going to be really a big tally. So when I'm talking to the camera, and if I, like I normally have an audience, I can look around it. So I can see it's far away. So I don't have to have it. So I can stand up and do a presentation.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic.
It's going to be a bit of fun. So, yeah, there's lots of things that are changing with Zoom. And I think it's good, because if everyone's hunched over like this, it's going to give them bad posture. And we've been trying for years to get everyone set up straight.
Oh, sure. It'll give them neck pain, shoulder pain, and eventually, upper body kyphosis, which is sort of that sort of humpback. The other thing, and it's not, I didn't make it too obvious there, but if you look at, I've got a professional microphone, and so the quality of your communications with Zoom is very, not just dependent upon where your eyes go. And you'll notice I've got a little light just above my webcam, just a little LED light, which I've got for $14.95 from Bunnings, believe it or not. And I can adjust that, so that's it doesn't flicker, which is great. But I've got my Pro microphone, and so I'm sitting back, and that microphone, as a matter of fact, I normally have it a little much closer to my mouth, but getting the microphone close to your mouth is a very important point for Zoom communications. The other thing for Zoom communications is you can see some soft furnishings around. As a matter of fact, I've got some acoustic foam underneath my laptop, And underneath my keyboard, I've got some felt on that table. All this is designed to reduce echo in the room, and also it's a high rejection microphone, so it doesn't pick up echoes from around the place. So hopefully that sounds clear.
That's really great. You've been the master of the audio for quite some time, and it's helped me a great deal with my stuff too. So thanks a lot. I've actually got a little lamp here at the same time, and these other things all around me. So it takes a bit of time, but it usually comes good.
And you can actually get when you're getting glasses, you want to make sure they've got a non-reflective surface so that I don't have sort of shining lights in my from my glasses sort of thing.
Yeah, well, if I put my eyes up here and look at the you can see the squares in it. So that's something I'll have to upgrade to as well.
No, it's looking good. You're looking good. So anyway, let's go shopping at the supermarket, eh?
Oh, terrific.
Yeah, fantastic. So I thought we'd and these photos were taken actually this morning. And look, this is a checkout. The checkout. This is what I call the unavoidability of junk. And it's not designed for health, it's designed for profits. And you can see the yellow tags. As a matter of fact, here's a little lesson for marketers, and I can't sort of zoom in on this ticket. If you want to make something look cheap, use a larger font on your price. So see, it's a big 3 at $1.50 save and stuff like that. And it just triggers the easy gain greed emotion, and it's completely unavoidable. So we really need to develop strategies, to blank this out. So they're simply not an option. So let's go walking through the supermarket. So you can just see there. Oh, sorry, hang on. There we go. I mean, this is right at the checkout counter. It's just unavoidable. Now, just imagine if you're there and you've got that Mars bar and you're hungry. So don't go shopping when you're hungry. Let's go. So, gee, this is a pretty good choice. If you want to stock up on some snacks. Now, I do normally say don't buy packaged food, but when it's freshly packaged, such as frozen veggies, frozen low sugar fruits, frozen fish, or canned fish, not a problem. So these are handy things to have in the cupboard. The canned fish. Then, if you can't buy fresh, have some low carb veggies which can also be canned. They can be canned or frozen. So because the thing is, we just don't want you to run out and then go get crap. And I've got 2 grandsons, and I just hate this stuff. This is, I think it's a food-like substance, which means that they can eat it, but what the hell is it? It's definitely not, fresh fruit. And then this stuff, if you got this in your shelf, don't even give it to your dog or your cat. Just get it out of there. Very inflammatory. And also, if you're out at restaurants and things like that, I would try and avoid fried foods, because so many fried foods are fried in polyunsaturated vegetable oils, very inflammatory, So these are in the millions of years of human evolution. This has just appeared, in the last 100 years. So,
my doctor around about a year ago said, always when you go to a restaurant, you have a pop your head into the kitchen and see if they've got any palm oil. He said, if they are, run a mile.
Well, there you go. Absolutely. So just be very careful of this stuff. Bit of olive oil, not too bad. This is fine, So and they're making pretty good olive oils right here in Australia. Of course, what's this designed to do? I mean, the sugar load of some of these soft drinks, and maybe this is reduced sugar or that's no sugar. But you just have to be aware of it. You're much better off just drinking, here I am drinking water, much better off just drinking water. Of course, you always want to have some eggs, and a great tip, if people are moving out and about, is to boil a dozen eggs, and so that you've got lovely boiled, pre-boiled eggs. sort of cooked, ready to go that you can take with you on a car trip or things like that. Fantastic snack, absolutely fantastic snack. And I typically have 2 or 3 eggs every morning. So, I mean, what is bewildering is the choice of eggs. You got free range, organic, vitamin D, blah 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 blah. I mean, I think we're possible to go free range, and if it's just you and your partner, maybe organic as well. May be a benefit. So, but try to choose well. So here's some frozen green veggies. Pretty well low carb. So these can be can make life easier, and they can be stored literally for months and months and months in your deep freeze. There's beautiful chopped leaf spinach. Be fantastic in an omelette. In the morning. Here's some
frozen veggies is great, because at the end of the day, sometimes people buy their veggies, and I know I've been guilty of it. I mean, I've even moved towards, instead of buying all the broccolis, the carrots and so forth, I buy in these little already chopped up. They cost $2, and you throw them in the microwave and they cook in 90 seconds, and they're nice and fresh al dente. And I must say that having this stuff, sometimes if you're traveling and you can't get out shopping, having that stuff in the freezer does make a difference.
Absolutely. It's just being defensive, isn't it? So, as a matter of fact, imagine if we had, suddenly a food shortage. But if you've got a deep freeze full of all this stuff, you're going to be fine. As a matter of fact, I spoke to the butcher this morning and said, because I wanted to show some the highest nutrient, lowest cost animal foods, which are organ meats, liver, and they said, look, it's just unavailable right now. We, for whatever in the whole supply chain, and this is a huge big Woolies, they don't have any beef liver, no lamb liver, no chicken liver. It's just wasn't on the shelves. So sometimes that's pretty hard to get. I like to have a little bit of liver with a little bit of bacon and eggs every morning. So it's just a huge free vitamin pill. And this is the sort of stuff you absolutely want to avoid. I think inside there is either some fish or chicken and stuff like that, but it's been deep fried in oil with some sort of crusty thing around the outside. Who knows what other ingredients that they got in there? This is a food-like substance. Don't get this stuff. Good old-fashioned butter, great. And there's lots of interesting butters from around the world. So just go for that. You can get all these beautiful greens. Go for that. That's pretty easy. Add some fresh herbs. But even if they're not fresh, still good to go. But fresh herbs are absolutely fantastic. Look at that Italian parsley. Just beautiful. You can almost smell it looking at it, can't you?
It looks yummy, yes.
Yeah. So that's pretty good. Here we've got if you do like a late night snack, a couple of strawberries and some blueberries, they're very low sugar yield. So they are a little bit sweet, and that just might knock it off rather than a big tub of ice cream or something like that. So, this is pretty good. They're in season right now.
The blueberries are very high in antioxidants as well.
Absolutely. Blueberries and strawberries, very high. You're exactly right. So good nutrient bang for the buck there. Good old avos, when they're in season, very good source of fats, and so they're good to go. Here we've got some lovely little strawberries. Look at that, looking absolutely fantastic. But it doesn't have to be Woolies. You get to know your local greengrocer. He'll tell you she'll tell you what's in, what's fresh and ready to go. Look at all those, and gee, I can see those red stalks there. Rhubarb. Now Ellen sometimes does rhubarb and berries, which is absolutely fantastic. No need to add any sugar. And see at the top of the shelf, right at the end, we've got, I think it looks like fresh radishes. Gee, when you get home at night, just chopping those in slices with a little bit of olive oil and a bit of salt on them, it's just a fantastic little snack when you're getting home or preparing dinner. There's more greens. So there's lovely mushrooms with eggs in the morning
Yes, they're good. My good old mushies there. I remember a little while ago saying that they are really high in vitamin D as well. And everyone needs a lot of vitamin D at the moment. It's a nice, fresh way of doing it.
Absolutely. And, get some sunshine, vitamin D, get some sunshine, but have whole foods, particularly your meats, and so here is, look, I actually went through the shelves and said, gee, what are some really low cost meats? Now, kangaroo isn't necessarily low cost, but there are some others that follow that you could cook in a slow cooker. And if you look behind me here, I've actually got a slow cooker right there. And, if you just learn one cooking skill, particularly if you're on your own or whatever like that, or just two of you in the household, getting a slow cooker, I mean, throughout all seasons, summer, winter, spring, autumn, a slow cooker is really a great way to go. And, there's some just fantastic, easy recipes. Just throw it in there, throw some water in, throw some veggies, throw some herbs in. You won't screw it up. It'll be delicious. Throw some salt in, it'll be delicious. Look at this.
For someone like a layman like me, a slow cooker, is that like like the old steamer?
It is like a steamer. It's a bit different, but it's so. Let me sort of get it out. So inside the slow cooker is this big ceramic bowl,
Right.
and it cooks at low temperature. They've got timers on them. Typically, you can do it for like 8 hours or things like that. So you could actually set it in the morning, come back, and it's just beautifully hot, ready to go.
How do you know how long to put it on there? I mean, if an egg for 8 hours,
I'm happy to share slow cooker recipes, with anybody who wants some. Well, you Google it, and these
of
things,
course.
these things come with instruction books. What do people never read? Instructions. And look, here's some beautiful grass-fed beef, sausages, fantastic. And look, Steve, you've just got to try this. Ellen's one of Ellen's favourites, or both our favourites. I think she came up with it. You get some grass-fed beef sausages like this, quality sausages, gluten-free, of course. You chop them up into, let's say, thirds or a quarter, put them in a baking dish, throw a whole lot of veggies in there with some garlic, maybe a drizzle of olive oil, put it in the oven, and come back. I would check it every now and then, maybe an hour or 90 minutes or things like that. And I can assure you, you won't be able to finish it all off, but it'll be beautiful cold, or next day. We call it a sausage bake. It is just so easy, and this is $8. This is super cheap. This is high nutrient stuff. Look at these. So the stir fry meats, they are super cheap. Really low rate per kilo, and once you've got them for 8 hours in the slow cooker, they will be as tender as you could get it. Grass-fed beef. Here's beef mince, Australian pork. You can go pork. Chuck slow cook. Look at this. Only $14 a kilo. This is at Woolies, so super cheap. So nobody can say that it's price that's stopping them. Diced casserole. Look, super cheap. Stir fry, super cheap. But you want to avoid stuff like this.
There we got the good stuff, and now we go back to the stuff that people is their comfort food. It's easy to grab, so they don't have to cook anything, isn't it? That comfort stuff, like I'll just get some bread, or I'll get some toast, or a muffin, or whatever.
And you're so right. And marketers learned a long time ago, if they can put the words together and have some emotional appeal, and then put it into a meme that can be sung, like, good on your mum, tip-top's the one.
Good on you, mum.
And we hear it with repetition, it becomes the truth. It becomes fact. We just never buy it. There is no human need for wheat at all.
You said the other day, no one's going to have a carbohydrate what was it? A deficiency.
Oh, no, no.
No such thing as a carbohydrate deficiency.
Absolutely. Now, that's not entirely true. There have been cases in the past of type 1 diabetics that, have had hypos and things like that, but slightly different situation. But if you ask anybody, any doctor, have you ever known a case of carbohydrate deficiency in anybody except a type 1 diabetic? They just won't. Even a 70-year-old doctor, who's seen a lot of, tens of thousands of patients, So, and so let's see, here's some aisles. So this is health food, spreads, cereal, oats, muesli. There probably isn't anything there that you'd want to get. Here is aisle 8. And now canned fish are okay, canned veggies are okay, but the sugar, cake mix, canned fruit, unless there's really low sugar fruit, I'd avoid that. Aisle 7, pasta sauce, rice, spices. Spices are okay. Maybe down the Asian food, you might be able to get some, coconut milk or coconut cream, which can be quite fun.
So those little noodles, those 2-minute noodles, they're deadly. They're so incredibly just chock-a-block full of carbs and nice and quick, but it has almost no nutritional value.
And no satiety. So if we come back, thanks for mentioning that. If you have this, in your slow cooker, you're going to have satiety. You're going to be full, and you're going to stay full. It's high nutrients. This is like nature's vitamin pill. So this is going to keep you full and keep you healthy. So, but those noodles, 10-minute noodles, they aren't.
The 2 minutes, Jamie, quick and easy. That's
what 2 minutes, golly.
2-minute noodles.
Chips, popcorn. I mean, I know people who cannot go to the movies without buying popcorn. Goodness knows what it's cooked in. And definitely, look at those juices. That is just liquid sugar. So, and a lot of the sauces, got sugar in them.
Well, tomato sauce is actually chock-a-block full of sugar.
Absolutely. Golly, you just have to do a quick calculation. A serve of tomato sauce, and the worst thing with young kids is that if you sort of introduce tomato sauce to bribe them to eat, as if hunger won't be bribe enough, then suddenly they become addicted to the sugar within the tomato sauce. You're not sprinkling sugar on it, but you might as well be sprinkling sugar on it.
Oh, look, they did studies a little while ago with, I think it was a brand called Ketchup or whatever, and it had significant amount of sugar. It's like almost a soft drink.
Absolutely. And I'm sure there are recipes to make your own tomato sauce out of tomatoes. Biscuits, crisp bread, chocolate, lollies, that's not going to make you healthy. All these juices, of course they've got the health halo. As a matter of fact, some of them got images like your virtual screen behind you, suggesting that they're healthy, but they're not going to improve your health. They're just going to add, low nutrient calories. And here, we've got more kids' drinks. You cannot call these nutritious. And then, sorry, I'm clicking out of there. All these sort of Uncle Toby's bars, these are high carb. Don't ask me what sort of fats are in them.
I think the TV a couple of days ago, and it was in the morning, and it was talking about the cereals, your Nutri-Grains and your Uncle Toby's oats and all the other bits and pieces that go with it. So oats is a little different, isn't it? I saw they were talking about healthy breakfast the other day, and it was on the news, and they were saying that some of the people that go to school, they don't have a breakfast. So they said, we're going to give them a healthy breakfast at school. So they're actually giving them all a whole lot of wheat mix and fruit juice to give them a healthy breakfast. And it's with the best of intention, but as you've been saying, that's probably a very unhealthy breakfast.
Absolutely. Now, and I think I might have said earlier in a previous episode, I am prone to reactive hypoglycemia. So if I had that sort of breakfast, which is a high sugar load, it'll elevate my blood sugar, but then I'll get an over response, and in about 90 minutes or 2 hours later, I'll be falling asleep. So it's reactive hypoglycemia, but the intake of, quick carbs like that without any protein or fat drives up my blood sugar. My body over responds and sends me into low blood sugar, losing concentration. It's typically 90 to 120 minutes later, losing concentration, feeling groggy, feeling like, oh, I need coffee, I need something sweet to pick me up. So just look at all those signs on the highway: stop, revive, survive. After 2 hours driving, and you've got alerts on your car after 2 hours driving: stop, revive, survive. Then you pull into those, community things. They give you a cup of coffee and some biscuits and stuff like that. Is it because you've been on the road for 2 hours, or that the breakfast you had was like, was served at the schools to those kids, all sugar, carbohydrate, or Charbage, it's called, that, and is that going to lead to either behavioural issues or low concentration, poor school marks? Absolutely.
Is that garbage? Is
Charbage.
that garbage instead of garbage? Is that
That's
right?
right.
Okay, garbage, new word.
Yeah, new word for you in the dictionary there. And so, here we are at the checkout again. There's a thing there. While you're here, buy that. So even though there's not a checkout person there, it's still prompting you to buy stuff. So, it's just, it really is a danger zone. Look at this lady restocking, these lolly shells. They would not be there if they weren't selling. I guarantee it. They would not be there. And there's all special to prompt. And, this is around the checkout counters. You can just see, of course, a bottle of water, okay. Here is, more chockies. So, Steve, here are 7 simple strategies that you may want to share, people could use. Firstly, before you go to the supermarket, make a shopping list, of what you plan to eat. Now, if you are too tempted to buy all this other stuff, get a friend to do your shopping for you, which means you give them the list. They only buy what's on the list, and you can and vice versa. Or you can order online. Although I didn't check out the online ordering, it wouldn't surprise me if they try to get you to buy all this other crap at the same time. Tip 4 is don't shop while hungry. Because if you shop while you're hungry, you're going to be tempted, oh, I'll just have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And if you're a bit of a typo there, but if you're with kids, be aware of pester power. Oh, mummy, can I have that? Can I have... And you'll see some kids just really throw a tantrum in order to get some high sweet, high sugar food, or they'll have, a lion or a tiger on there, and, so it's been advertised to the kids. Obviously shop around the aisles and get a slow cooker.
Mm. Well, I must say that I see sometimes people shopping and they grab a Mars bar and they'll be chomping away on it as they're shopping.
Absolutely. Oh, golly.
and then they give them the empty packet as they're checking out.
And the funny paradox, particularly when you pull into a servo in a petrol station early in the morning, the paradox is you'll often see people buying a Diet Coke and a Mars bar.
Yeah, keep the low sugar.
That's right. Yeah, so it's a
It was interesting. Many years ago, I'm sure you would have recalled. They were saying, "Gee whiz, sugar's really bad for you." And people say, "Yeah." Well, now we can have sugar-free, and they have aspartame. Now, aspartame is a fake type of sugar. Now, there are other types of sweeteners which are better for you, but we won't go into that. But then a study came out, and it said that there was a study with mice or rats that ate aspartame, and what came from that it was quite detrimental to their health, and a lot of them got cancer.
Yeah. Now, you just got to be a little bit careful here, because sometimes there is a difference between, rodent studies and human studies, but sometimes those rodent studies, they gave them like 50 times the dose.
Oh, right.
So the poison is in the dose. But what
to the moderation, everything in moderation, or do we have to abstain with some things? It's quite, a little bit of this, a little bit that's okay. But, it's always very hard to do moderation. Abstinence is much easier, isn't it?
That's right. That's what St. Augustine said. I find total abstinence far easier than perfect moderation. And for many people, they just, when they hear that, they say, oh, yeah, that's right. But you don't have to say never. It's not as though I won't, sort of, every now and then get a beautiful, sourdough bread. It's not as though you won't be at a birthday party and someone says, oh, we have a piece of cake. Sure. But, you know, but that's like the 1% of the 5% of the time. So you don't have to say to yourself never. But for some people, we've got friends who are holic or alcoholic or whatever like that. Now, they're better off saying never. It's not going to suit them.
Well, choice, isn't it, Jamie? If we just be a little bit black and white here, you pick something up, you put it in your mouth. No one's forcing you to do it. Just say, I'm just not going to put it in my mouth. You've actually got to put it in there. Or
you do. Yeah.
The answer is just no.
Yeah, that's right.
People say, I have to have that bread or I have to have some chips. No, it's a choice. I mean, if it wasn't available, you'd go without. So sometimes you just need someone to remind you and just say no. But it's called discipline and sometimes that's hard.
That's right. Did that Mars bar unwrap itself and jump into your mouth? No.
That's it. Did that bottle of gin just jump into your tummy? The answer is no. So it's all choices, isn't it? But we've created the pattern. I think these patterns that we have been created from younger, peer pressure and so forth, makes it okay if they see other people doing it. And I think it's important that people hang out with people that have the same philosophies, because that will reinforce the good stuff.
It makes it so much easier, to sort of choose your friends wisely. But when it comes to relatives, you can't choose them. And so, but you've got to eat proactively. You've got to be able to be defensive when they offer you crap and stuff like that. Without offending people. So you've got to be able to live your life, with your family and friends and without being too, confronting. But if you prioritize protein, if you eat fresh, if you have high satiety foods, high nutrient density, and right now, with so many things apparently threatening our health, maintaining high immune function is so dependent upon what you put in your mouth.
Yes. I mean, you've been preaching this right from the get-go. Get that immunity levels high. Make sure you eat the way. Have a little bit of breakfast and eat earlier in the evening. Eat a little bit later in the morning. Get that protein as a priority, and get away from those aisles that are tempting us to go down the wrong aisle.
Absolutely. And, for people in marketing and sales, and, a lot of your viewers are marketing and sales, I just have no doubt that the people who have abundant health, who don't turn up sweaty and whatever like that, who are relatively healthy, they are more positive, and I just think it's an ingredient to higher sales.
I agree.
And definitely to higher productivity. They got more energy, so they don't need, the coffee and stuff like that. So there's no doubt that, making healthy and smart choices is completely self-funding. It's one of the best investments you can make.
That's right. Well, if we go back to an old movie, Glenn Ross, so what do you say? Coffee's for closers. So have it at the end of the day.
Oh, that's interesting. Anyway, Steve, that's all I've got for today. And
so great to get the little bit of eye and also a position health as well, because the posture makes a big difference. But having a look at some of those things, we can talk about it, but those visuals are terrific. Looking at what's in the supermarkets, what are some good things that are in packets, and how we can actually get rid of that. I think what you call it the health halo, which is a little bit of a marketing ploy, and make sure there was a full focus on staying healthy and hanging around the right people. Mate, I really appreciate your time, mate, and also all the good that the feedback I've been getting is that people are changing what they're doing, and because they're hearing it regularly. So thanks again, Jamie. Outstanding.
Steve, it's absolutely my pleasure. And get some sunshine, do some push-ups, stay strong, stay well.
You've been an inspiration, mate. Every morning I've been watching you. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Okay, see ya.
All right, gang. What are you going to do with your shopping this week? Are you doing a Zoom? Or where are you going to position your camera? Lots of things to put into practice. I recommend there's 3 things you've got to take action on after you've actually seen something that tweaks a little bit of interest. Love to know what you're going to be putting into play. I know you tell me on the phone, but it's always good to see it in comments. So what are you going to do? What aisles are you going to avoid in the supermarket? And maybe going to get a slow cooker. Let us know. I'm Dr. J. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.